Hey everyone, we're back and continuing discussions with the top 10% of law firms. Today we have with us Jackie Harounian. She is New York Super Lawyers on the New York Super Lawyers list. She's been for 7 consecutive years. She's also top 50 women, made top female lawyer, top 10 attorneys. There's quite a few more awards and recognitions that I could list, but to sum it up, she's the leading family law attorney in New York and has been in business for herself for over 25 years. So y'all better pay close attention to this one. Jackie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Chelsea. I appreciate the opportunity to talk, and I'm hoping that what I say is useful for your audience.
Yes, we're so happy to have you, and I'm sure it will be. So tell us a little bit, let's start with your background before you went into practice for yourself. Give us an idea of what led you to become a legalpreneur.
My parents were both immigrants to this country, both incredibly hard workers, and I was definitely raised with a mindset that in favor of working hard and entrepreneurship. And I married young, became a mom, and very quickly realized that staying home was not for me, that I wanted to get out there and continue my education, which led me to law school. And I was very quickly attracted to family law. I found the issues very relatable as a mother. And I was very fortunate that in my second year of law school, I answered a job posting, old school. It was a postcard on a jobs listing board at my law school, which led me to the law firm where I'm a partner right now. So it's been 28 years that I'm working with the same people, the same firm, and I was promoted to partner in 2006. And our main practice area is family law. We have 9 attorneys, mostly doing family law, mediation, litigation, and some estate planning. And I'm very fortunate that I have a wonderful team here. My partner, Jerry Wisselman, founded the firm almost 45 years ago. And we have a really good team of mediators and attorneys here. And family law is just a fascinating practice area. I have never lost interest. So much of family law has to do with psychology and relationships and dysfunctional relationships, which has led me to pursue graduate studies in psychology. And I'm actually working on my master's right now in conflict resolution, which is psychology. And that's really what family law is all about.
And I saw that, and that's part of that. There's quite a few more things that we could list and say about you, is that you have that background and understanding, right? So not only are you doing this legal thing, but and it's very evident from your website that you're very passionate about what you do and you take it very seriously, and that you have all this background knowledge that helps you understand it in a way that maybe some other people don't.
I don't know. I really am a serious person by nature. I definitely was a nerd in high school and college. And I see family law as something where I'm in a position to help people. And the practitioners that I see that are only in it to make money, and believe me, there's a lot of opportunity. It's a very lucrative practice if you do it right. But if it's only about the money and you're cynical about the clients and their needs, that reputation is going to follow you. And I'm hoping that success of my firm and what I've learned with my partner, who has much more experience than me, and our team, is that it really is a service business. If you are not willing to help people in their hours of most critical need, financial need, their families are falling apart, you have to really be willing to keep them from feeling out of control, because it's a very out of control situation when a family is going through separation and divorce. And it really doesn't have to be quite so volatile. And the lawyers that are selected by the parties to move through the process make a very big difference on how it plays out and on how it impacts children. And I have children myself. I'm married almost 30 years myself. I feel a tremendous responsibility to guide my clients in a direction that moves them forward with their life towards a happier chapter in their life, and to minimize the fallout on their children. I take that responsibility very, very seriously.
Man, I can't agree with you more. And being a numbers person and being on the numbers side of things, it's easy to get caught up in this, okay, let's look at maximizing profits and we're charging the right fees. But true and lasting business success, I agree, it really has to come from a good place. I mean, you have to have genuine intent behind what you do, because it shows. If it's all about the numbers for you, it shows, and people don't want to deal with that. And you wrote a book, is that right? That was published in
I
2016.
did. That's right. I published a book called Divorce Reality Check. I'm actually having a book signing that's coming up pretty soon. And it's about the nuts and bolts of the divorce process and how to stay out of trouble so that uh, the legal fees and the increasing acrimony doesn't just get out of control and take over. And the laws have changed significantly in family law. Getting back to what you just said, can you still hear me, Chelsea?
I can. Yep.
Okay. Unfortunately, I know many, many wonderful lawyers that are really very compassionate people, and you definitely see wonderful people and in the family law field. They're not always so good at the numbers part. And it's a combination of having that compassion for clients, wanting to steer them in the right direction, not to profit off their misfortune really, but at the same time having a head for business. I think the reason why my firm is so successful and we've gained so much recognition for our success is because we have my partner, Jerry Wisselman. He's the managing partner. It really is creating a culture at the firm we have a staff of 20 people, including the lawyers, having a good firm culture, because the field of matrimonial law is quite toxic, and it's sometimes toxic between the attorneys and the atmosphere in court. And you're dealing with people that are very negative, but the culture at our firm is a very, very positive, very comfortable culture for our team. And I really think that makes a very big difference. And that leads into having a profitable business. I'm very proud to say that at our firm, we have virtually no turnover of staff. I mean, I've never come across a firm where they've had such long-term relationships. So starting even the relationship with my partner and I, Jerry Wisselman and I, working together since I was a law student, and I graduated in 1994, to our attorneys who are all here, many years. Some of our attorneys have been here for 20 years. Our office administrator has been here for over 20 years. Our support staff, I mean, it's just a culture of respect and letting the attorneys have the autonomy to manage their cases with review by the partners and trying to deliver a service in a way that's fair and respectful to our clients. I really think we have something very special here, and I'm very, very proud of it.
Yeah, and it sounds that way. And you bring up a good point, because so I was on site doing a 2-day intensive with one of my clients about a month ago. And it just so happens that one of her biggest cases of the year was going to court when I was there. So I was able to go with her, and she's also in family law. And so I watched this take place, and by the time it was all done, I really understood the weight that attorneys carry for their clients, and to see these this drama unfold in the courtroom, and all of these emotions and all of these feelings, and to be able to manage your client and manage yourself and deal with all of that, and then come back, like you said, to your law practice where you have your team and manage them and make sure their heads are in the right place in all of this.
That's
right?
correct.
That's
right.
Just a crucial part of making everything work. So how do you guys do that? What are some of the things that you do in practice with your team to make sure that there's this cohesiveness?
Well, I mean, I really do think it comes from a culture of respecting our employees. And I've learned this from my partner. I'm a little bit more, I have a little bit more of a volatile personality. I'm a little bit more of a aggressive lawyer, let's say, when it comes to advocacy. And I can have a quick temper also. My partner is very even-keeled. It's a very yin and yang situation. What I've learned from him in terms of dealing with employees and staff is just to value who they are, to compensate them very fairly, to give them days off, to understand what their needs are as human beings. Many of our staff here are parents. There has to be some flexibility. And so law firm management is something that something you learn on the job, which I have over many years working with my partner. But it's also something, it comes from just a level of decency. It can't only be about the profits of the company. It has to be about making sure that the employees feel respected and valued, and there's so many things that go into that.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree. There's a saying that's nothing great is ever built alone, and I think that's so true. And I think, one of the things that you and I talked about the first time we talked was, going through law school and learning the technical side of the law. One thing that law school doesn't teach you are these business concepts that you have to know and master if you're going to make it and succeed and make a living in doing it.
Correct. That's absolutely true. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. And I think that goes double for my field, for family law, or any field where you're having a lot of client contact. So that would include estate planning, or maybe criminal law, or maybe even real estate. You have to be able to connect with the client and be fair in your aspects of dealing with the client. You don't have to be the most brilliant lawyer. You don't have to have the fanciest office. You do have to have a head for business, and you have to understand that a word of mouth following in family law is earned one client at a time. And it's top of mind for us. And so our goal is always to exceed expectations. There's a lot of negative stuff out there about lawyers and about divorce lawyers in particular. And some of it, quite frankly, is just well-deserved. And
Right.
so I'm up against that. I really do try to make a positive difference in my clients' lives. I do. I fall short of it sometimes, and sometimes it has to do with the unfair aspects of cases. I mean, every case is built based on the facts of the case and the law that applies to it. And sometimes there are outcomes that are unfair. And I will take the hit because people blame their lawyers. And that's part of what this is all about. We have to do our best job for our clients. And a reputation is built on solid outcomes where clients feel like they were treated fairly.
Yeah, yeah. And that's almost the business mindset of it, right? Like keeping this level head, this view of making sure you're keeping things in perspective and caring because you should, but knowing that there are limitations to what you can and can't do for your clients. And so it's like a juggling act, right? Like
Absolutely.
the practicing of law and the business and the managing side.
Right.
So clearly your people and how you treat your clients and the people that you deal with on day in and day out, which I refer to in some of my content as the client experience, and then other team building things are really important to, getting to this place where you've been in business for a long time, you're making a living, you're providing jobs, and you have a good environment. And like with you, with low turnover. Are there any other professional or even personal habits that you maintain that you contribute to your overall success in business?
What attracted me to law in the first place is that, as I mentioned, I was a little bit introverted in high school and college, and I definitely like to read and write. And I feel very blessed that at this stage of my career, I'm back to doing a lot of reading and writing, blogging. A lot of it is on social media, especially LinkedIn. And that leads to speaking engagements. I provide CLE for other lawyers and judges. And my firm has a niche where we provide continuing education credits for mental health professionals. So we train hundreds of them every year at workshops in our office and off-site. So for me, it's constantly learning, constantly interacting and engaging with other professionals, financial professionals and mental health professionals and others. And that really helps me grow as a lawyer and as a person. I really am one of those people that just loves to learn and grow. And law for sure provides those opportunities. And I do enjoy speaking and educating others. This has always been part of something that I enjoyed. All of that is business development. The more my name is out there and my firm's name is out there, locally we're a very well, recognized brand in family law. And I'm very proud of that. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm willing to share my ideas, respond to other people, partner with other speakers and do CLEs. Whatever can get me out there on a regular basis, it's something that I enjoy the most about practice. And it's something that makes me very happy about what I do. And at the same time, I enjoy the practice of law in the courtroom. I do a lot of mediation. I love sitting down and resolving matters. whatever can get my clients through to the end, to the finish line. I enjoy being part of that process.
Yeah. So not just focusing on, the cases and the inside the business, but looking outside and looking at other areas that maybe don't seem directly related to what you're doing, but they're integrated in a certain way, and kind of spreading your network out to
Oh,
other places that either you can help or they can help, or just creating this karma around
yeah.
what you do. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Awesome.
You have to be willing to help other people. I mean, my firm has always had a free consultation. We've always have since he started the firm, but also being willing to help other professionals, giving referrals for mental health professionals, or helping people get services for addiction, or because they're through some sort of psychological crisis or their children need help. Always be willing to give out information, give out referrals. All of that leads back to us, because people are very grateful to get advice that's unique to their situation. And I also do quite a bit of marriage counseling unofficially, because a lot of times I'll tell people that divorce maybe is not in their best interest. Maybe they need to go to therapy, or do a postnuptial agreement, or consider other options to divorce. And there are many options. And people are always very surprised to hear that, and they're very grateful for it. And they will refer people. And so it all, it all goes from there. It's giving the right advice at the right time, if I can.
And it all, just listening to it, it sounds like, well, yeah, that just makes sense. That's logical, right? Like, why wouldn't you refer people to a therapy instead of this? And why wouldn't you present the options? And I think that's, like you said, that's the difference between the people who may be in it for the wrong reasons versus the people who are genuine about it. And, I find that in a lot of these videos that I do with people, if they're coming from a genuine place, it really is this success karma. And, it's funny, and I've said it before, when I first got into marketing, it was like this thing that I didn't want to do, and I didn't understand in my business, and they were telling me to do this. But then one day it clicked for me, and I'm like, these people are trying to teach me they're like trying to reverse engineer authenticity. And that's what marketing people do. They try to pull out this authenticity from you, but business is really an inside out job. And you keep affirming that for me, because from the way that you treat and encourage your team, to the way that you treat and really help and serve your clients, it's this inside out job. It's not, you can smell fabricated authenticity a mile away.
Right.
I mean, everything you're saying, it just revolves around this idea, constant thing.
That's true. You have to be authentic. Your clients have to trust you. It really comes down to trust. A divorce attorney can really profoundly impact a client's life. And if my client trusts me, then I'm giving them the right advice, that I'm not looking to churn their bill and make money off their case beyond what I need to do to protect them. If that trust is there, when it comes time to settle, which is my goal in every case, and even a trial I started earlier this week settled on the second day, because that trust was there. We were able to finally close the negotiations. If that client really believes that I have their best interest at heart, they are not going to second guess a settlement that's in front of them, because I will have prepared them way before, weeks before, about what goes into a settlement and what the right terms might be. And so they don't feel blindsided. They don't feel forced. They're ready. And that's the best way. I don't want clients to be traumatized by their divorce process. I feel like if they're prepared to settle and the options are put in front of them, many times they will make the right choice. And the right choice is almost always, get the hell out of the case, settle and move on, make a fair financial settlement. There are some cases that really do need to be litigated, unfortunately, but most can be resolved if the lawyers and the clients are working together towards that resolution.
Yeah. Okay. Man, I feel like I could talk to you about this for so much longer, but let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm a money gal. That's what I do. And, you've agreed to kind of talk a little bit with us about where your firm is financially. So give us an idea of kind of what your firm is doing on an annual basis, and an idea of, a lot of times I get asked, how much should I be spending on wages as a percentage of, share with us about that.
Boy, I wish I had the spreadsheets in front of me. Our overhead, we have 9 lawyers, and we have, as I mentioned, almost 20 people on staff, a little bit more than 20 sometimes. Our overhead, our biggest expense is payroll. it's a very significant expense because, as I said, we pay fairly, and our client, the attorneys that bring in business, get a piece of the business. They get a referral percentage. We also have very high rent expenses. We're in a prime rent area, so our expenses are high. I don't know that I could give you percentages, but gross revenue, we're in the $5 million range or so, up or down in that range. And we devote a significant amount to marketing. We have a marketing budget. We have a terrific website. We
So
spend
how
the
do you,
money
if I
on
could,
social media. Yeah.
how do you come up with your marketing budget? Do you use the standard 10% of revenue, or do you have a set amount that you review every year?
We have a full-time marketing person on staff. We actually have a marketing team. So we have 2 people that devote a lot of the time on marketing. It keeps us extremely busy. As I mentioned, we have a lot of education we do for other professionals. So we have speaking engagements. If you go on my website, you'll see we have a full calendar of speaking engagements. And a lot of that is from our marketing team. So I couldn't give you a dollar amount, and it's not a set amount every month, but it's a significant number.
Okay.
It's what's necessary to keep 9 lawyers working full time.
Yeah.
In a practice area where we don't really get a lot of repeat business. Every time we have to be out there. Clients have to find us. We want to be top of mind. We want them to see our logo and hear our name. And our marketing department is terrific. Our website is really very cutting edge. And we have a 24-hour phone service. I mean, these are things that we invest in, and I think it's money well spent. I've spoken to a number of lawyers in family law, mostly solo practitioners, that didn't really get ahead of the curve with regard to marketing, and they paid a price because if you're not on Google, if your name is not out there, if clients can't find you, it's going to definitely affect the bottom line.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of times when we come in and we start creating budgets for clients, in the past, they have not allocated, they've not made it the habit to allocate to market. So it's a whole new thing that they have to chisel out and figure out what they can drop in order to add that. So I think that's really valuable. What about, and I know we only have a couple of minutes left, what about some financial KPIs that you guys are looking at? What are some important numbers that you look at on a regular basis to maintain the financial health of your business?
Well, one of the biggest things in family law, and any family law lawyer will tell you, is that we have to be very careful with collections. We have to be very careful with clients that are not paying their bills. First of all, I believe it's our responsibility to make sure the strategies we use can fit their budget. So it's understanding what the client's income is, what their credit is, how willing they are to spend on a case, and always keeping them focused on the benefits of resolving the case. I would never feel that good about a client taking out loans or using their kids' college fund to pay legal fees unless it was necessary. And oftentimes it isn't necessary. And so I have to constantly educate the client. We don't want to run a tab with clients. I don't want them to owe us a lot of money. I would much prefer that we quote an appropriate retainer, and that we have a monthly payment plan and something that's affordable and hopefully comes to an end because the case gets resolved sooner rather than later. I mean, that's what leads to referrals. So collections are definitely a big issue. We are a high volume firm. I mean, we do have many retainers that come in. So obviously we keep track of the monthly number of retainers. Some months are higher, some are lower. January is very, very busy. The beginning of the year is always a busy time. And there are times when, business is slow and there'll be fewer retainers. And that always makes me a little anxious because obviously we need that volume to come in so that we can meet all of our expenses. But just when, it seems like things are slowing down, that's when suddenly it'll pick up and things will get very, very busy again. So luckily our firm has grown over the years, and every year surpasses the last. And, it's really the strength of our team.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay. So in closing, I'll ask you one more question. If you had one piece of advice that you could give to a lawyer who's just started out or who's struggling to get to the next level, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that, to be successful as a lawyer, if you're working in a firm or you want to build a business, it really does take a lot of work. It's really grit. There's that book, I don't know if you've read it, it's called Grit. and it really resonated with me, that it really, more than anything else, more than intelligence, more than having connections, more than almost any other factor, having the willingness to have grit, perseverance, determination, really put in the time, go to meetings, make connections with other people, get better and better at what you're doing, educate yourself, read about business development, learn how to become an expert in your field. And I think somewhere around the 10-year mark, after I had done a couple of trials, and suddenly I did feel like I was an expert in my field. And I do think in most fields, it's at least 10 years before you reach that point of real expertise and confidence. And that's what it was for me. I'm sure for other people it's different. But thinking highly of your skills, and at the same time being willing to constantly improve on your skills. It takes both of those things: confidence, but just enough insecurity to keep working at it and growing. I think those are the key factors.
Yes, I agree. Don't get complacent. Always be a student. If you're complacent, you got to get up and get moving.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Jackie, so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and put it on record. I'm going to try to convince her to come back, y'all, and talk about some more stuff.
I feel like we should talk again. I'm sorry, my time is short. We rescheduled this a couple of times. My schedule is a little bit crazy sometimes, and I do have to get to family court shortly, so I appreciate squeezing me in. Yes. And I would love to be a guest another time, and I really, really appreciate the opportunity, and I would love to see more and more women focused on numbers and on growing their businesses, because for sure we are living in an era where men and women have those opportunities, and it's really good to be part of that success.
Yes, we got a gap to make up. Let's get to it.
I agree 100%.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time, folks.
Thank you, Chelsea.